A special thank you to my patrons, Acrophobe, Christina, Wild Rose, Lauren Chris, That British Unicorn, Jam Beans, Debbie Elliott, and D. Higgins. Hi. So this isn't the video that I wanted to make. I actually had a completely different video planned for today. I was going to talk about something light and entertaining, and I don't want to do that right now. There's been a lot happening these past few weeks. If you guys don't know, I live in the U.S. You might as well. I don't know where you guys live, but the majority of my audience seems to be in the States. So you guys are probably aware of the political stuff that's happened in the past few days. It's been a little hard to avoid. It's been intense. In the wake of all of that, we have our own personal corner of the YouTube infected with the same kind of drama. I'm sure most of you guys are at this point aware of the incredibly insensitive and garbage things that Chantal has said. And that's what this video is going to be about. I want to talk about it, right? I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents on it. I'm going to give you guys some information. I'm going to link some resources down below. This video is 100% monetized. I've got a ton of ads in here too. I know that. All of the proceeds from this video will be going to the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I'm going to be matching them 1-to-1 with my own money. It's also a premiere. Just letting you guys know. Do with that what you will. If you guys can help, you guys want to help out a great charity, please do so. Better than even giving it to me in terms of super chats or whatever would be if you guys went to the link down below for the Southern Poverty Law Center and gave directly to them. That would be a fantastic thing to do. They could use the funds. They could always use the funds. And they're doing amazing work in fighting neo-Nazi extremism. So consider it. It's a great charity. If you guys aren't aware of what's happening, I'm going to link Just Saying's video down below as well. She does a great job in sort of summarizing the garbage content that Chantal has put out in the past few days regarding anti-Semitism. Chantal's had an axe to grind for a pretty long period of time with reactors. She has her cycles. Sometimes she just says, oh, I'm fine with it. And other times she doesn't. I did a video about Chantal. Well, I did 2 videos. It ended up having to be cut into 2 videos because it was too long. My weekly Chantal series. And I'd mentioned that at one point she says, I can't believe that there are these 50-somethings-year-old, almost 60-year-old women who are sitting there for a few hundred people, talking about me. And at that time, I thought she'd been referring to Miss Hussey because she's had issues with Miss Hussey before. She wasn't talking about Miss Hussey. She was talking about Clara, DC Media Girl. And the reason why I can be pretty confident that she's talking about DC Media Girl and not Miss Hussey is because there is another video that she'd done. If you guys remember, she looked like a floating head sitting in her car talking about how Miss Hussey was like so much older than her, and someone had corrected her in the comments and said, no, she's in her, I think it was like 47. She's 47. And so she was aware because she acknowledged that on camera. If I can find the clip, I'll insert it here. But I really want to get this video out. So if I don't have it all, the proof exists out there.
Number one, the person who made that rumor is insignificant to even talk about. But they're like a friggin' 60-year-old friggin' man or woman, whatever. I don't even know. But completely infantile, 60-year-old spending their day fat shaming younger women on the internet and making up rumors things that don't even exist. Like, oh, sorry, 47 makes it any better. The point is, they're not 5.
You guys don't have to take my word for it. You guys can do your own research. But if I can, I'll try and insert everything. So she knew, right? She knew how old Miss Hussey was. She could be lying. She has been very ageist in the past, but I don't think that was it. I think she was actually really, really mad at DC Media Girl. You can dislike her content. You don't have to like her. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like Charlie. You don't have to like Michael. You can go ahead and dislike whoever you want. You can leave, comments about their content as many times as you want. You can rage about their content as many times as you want. You can contact YouTube. You can contact sponsors if they've got sponsors. You can contact whoever you want. Do whatever you want. What you should not do, however, is go after somebody's religion. You should not go after somebody's skin color. You should not go after somebody's intrinsic characteristics, right? Because those are things that people can't change. And I know people are going to argue with me that religion is changeable, blah, 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 blah. It is a protected class, though. Chantal said something incredibly insensitive. She compared the Holocaust to fat shaming. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. She compared the two. Now, I can give people the benefit of the doubt that sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, you say stupid shit that you don't mean. But when it's pointed out to you that what you just said is stupid and you continue saying it and you become combative, that's when the problem arises. And that's what she did. Go back and watch her video. She becomes combative. She starts telling people, well, I'm not anti-Semitic. How is that anti-Semitic? She refuses to take criticism that people are telling her, what you just did is wrong. What you just said is upsetting and offensive. She doesn't want to hear it because she as far as she's concerned, she didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't anti-Semitic. Well, she didn't even know that DC Media girl was Jewish. As if that's some kind of defense. Not knowing that Clara is Jewish doesn't make that comment any less anti-Semitic. There are some things that you can say are like the Holocaust. You can't say this is the Holocaust. You shouldn't do that. But you can say that some things are like the Holocaust, right? The Holocaust was a traumatic event that happened, and it was very wide scale. It was ethnic cleansing on a level that I don't really think that we had seen at that point as a species. But when you're talking about the Holocaust, you have to remember that there are people who are still alive today who feel the after effects of it. People who've lost loved ones. People who are still alive who might have been present. So you should keep that in mind before you say something as flippant as, well, why don't you go and react to the Holocaust? Because it doesn't make it any better, right? And this claim that she makes that, well, if, I'm anti-Semitic, then you're a fat shamer. Fine, I'm a fat shamer. Call me a fat shamer. Go ahead. Eating disorders, basically the death rate, direct death rates from the eating disorders are 10,200. Worldwide, it's 10,200. That is an enormous number. You know what's a bigger number? 6 million. Because that's how many Jewish people and other minorities died during World War II at the hands of the Nazi Party. It would take 588.25 years for eating disorder deaths to catch up. So don't sit there and equivocate the two. They're not the same thing. And once again, fat shaming is a very nebulous term. She's applied this term to any criticism she gets. Anything anyone says about her is automatically fat shaming, despite the fact that people, rightly, I think, hold her accountable for her incredibly garbage behavior. I'm sure that if she sees this video, she's going to say that, hey, you're a fat shamer because you are criticizing me. I'm calling you a garbage monster because you are a garbage monster. Okay? Don't get it twisted. You'd be a garbage monster at 120 pounds. And you're a garbage monster at 400 plus. Because it's got nothing to do with the amount of fat you have on your body and everything to do with the fact that your brain is rotten. The worst adversity that Chantal has ever faced has been because she's fat. Somebody calling her fat in public, her joints hurting because she's fat, her needing to get surgery because she's fat. So in her brain, right, in her extremely limited worldview, she thinks that all other oppression must be just as bad as being fat. It's not. And if you had any level of empathy and understanding of the way the world worked, you would know that. If you think that somebody calling you fat in public is equivalent to knowing that your family member is about to be put to death, then you're ignorant. If you think that being told that you're overweight and it's causing you medical complications is the same as having to deal with racists denying you rights, it's not. You know nothing. Your worldview, your entire universe is based on food. That's it. Those are the only things in your world that you care about. And we've seen that. You've put, what, 2 days up now on YouTube where we've basically just seen your whole day? What do? You sit in one place and you eat. That's all. That's all you do. You don't have any friends. You don't have any hobbies. You don't have a job, not a traditional one. You have this. This is all you do all day, every day. Your entire day revolves around food. So you can't comprehend that other people have things that they're dealing with that are much, much more serious. We just had a incredibly awful, scary thing happen at the Capitol. If you don't know about it, you should research it, right? And it's not just the fact that it affected the United States. The fact that democracy in the United States is at risk has a ripple effect throughout the entire world. We are the superpower. So when our democracy fails, something that we've been exporting to other countries around the world, then people can clap back at us and say, what do you have to say for yourself? How can you come to my country and tell me that we should be doing better? Well, you can't even get your own people under control. It has a negative impact on everyone. This was a terrifying, awful moment. The symbol of racism and slavery was flown in the White House, something that didn't even happen during the Civil War. And in the midst of that, in the midst of a riot held by neo-Nazis, Chantal wants to sit there and talk about, she wants to talk about reacting to the Holocaust. And she directed this at a Jewish woman. I am sure that when she said this, she probably didn't know that DC Media Girl was Jewish. Or she might have known and she might have forgotten, right? It might have been a thing that was just sort of peeing around in the back of her brain. It wasn't something that was right up front and center, right? I don't know which one of those two is true. I'm not going to assume. What I can tell you is that doesn't make it any better, because saying it to anybody would make you a garbage person. Using that dismissive tone to talk about a moment in time where that many people suffered and died makes you a bad person. It objectively makes you a bad person. Because there's only two explanations for why you did it, right? You either wanted to say the most shocking thing you could, and you knew the pain it would cause, in which case you didn't care that you could have members of your audience who were also Jewish. You didn't care that somebody might come across this who's never come across your content before and they might be Jewish. You didn't care about, maybe people in your personal life who are Jewish. You didn't give a shit about any of that. Or you didn't know, and you're that ignorant that it never occurred to you that something where 6 million people died would have ripple effects throughout that entire community. The trauma of the Holocaust hasn't gone away. People still find leftover weapons, bombs, tear gas canisters. I'm sorry, not tear gas, but gas canisters buried in the fields where World War II was fought. People have family, immediate family, who they've lost, who they still remember. That's not something that happened. It's not 200 years ago. You're not talking about the Civil War. And it's present in more insidious ways as well, right? Which is why the majority of people will know George Soros as a Jewish mastermind, but not the fact that the man has literally given $15 billion to charity. He has given the most amount of money to charity of anyone else in the entire world. But that's not the thing that most people know him for. That is the legacy of anti-Semitism. That is the legacy of the Holocaust, right? It's like Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue elongating John Ossoff's nose in the Georgia runoffs. Sorry, if you guys aren't that familiar with politics, the Georgia runoffs just happened. One of the two senators running against the incumbents there was Jewish. John Ossoff, young guy, pretty cool, dressed up as a Han Solo a long time ago. And he's Jewish. His parents are Jewish immigrants. And in the attack ads that they released against him, they elongated his nose. Just a little bit, just enough to really drive the point home, right? They darkened the other Georgia Senate runoff candidate, Reverend Warnock. They darkened his skin. He's a black gentleman. They made him look darker. So Those are the sorts of things, that's the history of bigots that's still being observed today. So Chantal might not be your the way that you would think of someone who's like a raging racist, right? She's not going to be carrying around a Confederate flag. She's not going to be saying death to all Jews. She's not going to be saying those kinds of things. She's not going to be aligning herself with the party. Hell, she's even going to tweet out stuff every once in a while saying, this is so bad, you guys. This is awful. I can't believe this thing is happening. She is the kind of person who will see a black teenager and put her phone in her pocket because she's scared they're going to take it. She is the kind of person who would make a casual reference to a very horrific event that happened to a group of people to drive the point home that she's trying to make, right? She is the kind of person who, when she's been told that something she did was wrong, rather than admitting it and grow from it, she's going to keep trying to defend it. That's internalized racism. That's the casual bigotry that we see in most people. The majority of people aren't raging racists. They aren't raging bigots. No one comes out to you, for the most part, and says, I think that Jewish people deserve to die. I think that black people are less than. Most people, what they will do instead is say, I'm going to support this candidate because I care about their economic policies. And I know they've said some pretty problematic things, but they can do so much good for this country. They will say things like, yeah, I mean, what I did was bad, but what you guys are doing is just as bad, when their racism and anti-Semitism is pointed out to them, right? They're the kind of people who will double down and triple down on a bad idea. And that's the kind of person that Chantal is. And to all of her lapdogs who are sitting on YouTube defending this garbage behavior, you are the type of people who made that riot possible. It is the type of people who see shitty behavior and say, it's probably okay, it's probably nothing, right? What was that quote? All it takes for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing. That's what this is. You guys hate the hater community so hard that you're not even willing to call out anti-Semitism. You're willing to let that slide because you hate us, because you want to defend. There is a phrase in my language, doodh ke dhula. It means to be washed in milk. That's what you want to do to her. You want her to be washed in milk. You want her to be completely spotless and completely perfect, so that everything that we have to say and everything that we do and comment on is automatically invalidated. You're trying to create a straw man argument. Do what you want. It just discredits you. You are disgusting for supporting this comment. You were disgusting when you supported her when she said Charlie Cole. It wasn't the fact that she said it the first time. It was the fact that she thought Charlie looked like a criminal, despite the fact that Charlie Gold literally isn't. It's the fact that she kept saying it after being told by multiple people of color that that's an offensive word. It's the fact that she gave a disingenuous apology and then immediately took it back. And I'm sure once she gets enough clapback for this, that's what she's going to do too, right? Chantal doesn't care about anything. She doesn't actually genuinely sympathize or empathize with people. That's why she can't look at the situation and go, frack, I really hurt some people's feelings. I should educate myself. I was wrong about this. She doesn't have any ability to reflect. She's a stunted, immature child, and she is casually bigoted. And that's who y'all are standing. That is all I have to say on this matter. I will leave links down below. Once more, if you can, please donate to the Southern Poverty Law Center. They are doing some amazing work in fighting neo-Nazis. They're doing some amazing work for people, and I think it's a great cause to support. You can support me or not. I don't care. This video wasn't about that. This video isn't even about money. All the money I'll make off the AdSense for this, I'm going to match 1-to-1, and I will be donating to the Southern Law Center myself. Southern Poverty Law Center. My bad. Sorry. I don't, every once in a while, Chantal will do something or say something that's so egregious to me that it makes me actually hate her. And I don't use that term very frequently. I dislike a lot of things. I find a lot of things very irritating, but I don't hate very many people. My list of actual hated people are very small. And I'm sure it's going to not get knocked down again, right? She's going to go from being hated by me to just being someone that I find irritating. Right now, I do hate her a little bit because she's being a garbage monster. And she needs to apologize. She needs to learn from this. And she won't. I know she won't. She's incapable of it. Weight and religion are not the same thing. Calling someone fat, while still a bad thing to do if the person is sensitive about it, is not a bad thing necessarily, right? Wanting an entire religious and ethnic group to die because you think they're responsible for the world's problems, it's a pretty bad thing. Telling people who might have had family who suffered during a very horrific period in their history to react to that and then doubling down on it, that's a pretty terrible, shitty thing to do. That will be it for this video. My next video is probably going to be on Friday, hoping it's a slightly more lighthearted one. Sorry if this was a lot. Sorry if I was a little bit mad. I try not to be really angry when I make videos like these, but I do think that if there's ever a time for you to be mad, now is the time. I'm doing what I can in my part of the world to make it a little bit better. Do what you can. Make the change that you can. Help whoever you can. Donate to the right causes if you can. Support the right people if you can. Show a little love if you can. Thank you guys. I'm Jasmine, and I'll see you later. Peace.